All right, this is SSL Family Dad, and today it's time to start gardening. All right, so we're out here in the kitchen garden, what we've called the kitchen garden. It's right outside our front door, right near our garage, just right by the house here. This is where we grow all of the food that's generally for us. This year we have kind of expanded a bit, and we are gonna have the biggest gardens that we've ever had. Every year I seem to say that because we keep getting bigger and bigger, which is good. But we've prepared this space here right outside the house last year, so this is our second year gardening in this area. We've got one raised bed built, and we'll plan to have more of those as well. And so we've got a combination of kind of traditional gardening along with raised bed gardening. I've got some trellising systems and other things I'll kind of show you guys. And so I'm just going to go through what I have planted already today, and what is still to come, and some future plans for expanding into a more of a production garden system here nearby as well. All right, so we've made quite a bit of progress on the kitchen garden so far today, and I've got lots more to do tomorrow. I'll probably finish up, but I have the raised bed planted. One of our favorite things to grow in raised beds is potatoes, and so we have potatoes all from this end almost all the way down to the other end, and then we've got some onions, various kinds of onions down there at the other end. Raised beds are excellent for potatoes. They're very easy to dig up and harvest the potatoes once you're done. Good for onions also, and since our soil is kind of clumpy here, we've got some compost that's not quite all broken down. It wasn't screened or anything. The potatoes, as they grow, they'll kind of help to loosen that soil up and break things down. If you've seen, I did a video a few years ago actually on the square foot gardening method and the square foot gardening template that I made. I use this all the time, and what this does is it gives you your seed spacing for a square in these raised beds, so it kind of helps you line things up and space things out. For onions, for instance, you put 4 per square foot, so the white and blue circles here, that would be where an onion goes, and you got this little puncher, you lay this thing in there and you can slide this in, makes a mark in the soil, and then you can go back and put your onions in. It works, you know, for potatoes, it's 1 per square foot, so it would be right in the middle of every square foot area. And then there's a bunch of other patterns of, you know, different things you can grow in it's kind of a square foot method. So one of the best things about the raised bed gardening systems is that you really can plant quite a bit in a small space. So we can get a whole lot packed in here. It's raised off the ground, we have control of the soil, and things grow really well here. So I'm going to do a whole video comparing this style of gardening to kind of this style of gardening, and we'll talk more about some of the benefits of that. But I enjoy both, but raised beds definitely have their purpose, especially with things like potatoes. So by the beehive back here, I have a bunch of zucchinis kind of all around, and all along here I have cucumbers planted. I do plan on building a trellis system that will go up against this garage wall, that most of these can climb up. The rest of them can just kind of fill in this whole area, but these are all just regular straight 8 cucumbers. We got some bushes planted today, just kind of help edge this area out and make that look a little nicer. Got some extra space here for zucchinis. And this whole section right here, we're not going to till this. We're going to kind of do a no-till method in this area, and we're going to amend the soil with compost locally, and we're going to be planting all of our bell peppers here and then tomatoes down in this area. So this whole kind of patch next to the path that we made last year will all be peppers and tomatoes. So this is the invisible trellis. In fact, with the siding there, you really can barely see. There's fishing line in here, and it's a real high test fishing line. Works really well for peas and small cucumbers and things like that. I've got strawberries growing along the bottom here, and those will kind of spread out and fill this whole lower area, hopefully this summer. And I've amended the soil directly underneath the trellis here, and I'm trying something a little different. So what I'm doing here is I have planted a combination of some snap peas, a Boston pickling cucumber, and some pole beans. I have a couple peas. I think I did 3 pea plants, I did a pole bean, and then I did a cucumber. And so the idea here is that you have kind of a mix of different various kinds of plants that are good to plant together. So my plan is those will kind of trellis up in different ways, and I may let a few of them, you know, kind of climb around on the ground here in open areas. to free up space on the trellis. But the idea is that the peas are a legume, so they actually fix nitrogen. They take nitrogen out of the air and they put it into the soil, whereas the beans and the cucumbers are going to uptake that those nutrients and use those. So we've got kind of a balance there I'm hoping to achieve, and we'll use up this this trellis space right outside the front door, and this will hopefully be kind of like a living wall. All right, and here we have kind of 3 really long rows. These are all amended as well with a mixture of our compost and peat moss and a little bit of native soil as well. So I've kind of put that in here and mixed it in with the native soil. Now this is where we'll grow kind of all of our leafy greens and our cool weather crops. I've got radishes, I've got a lot of carrots in here because we'll freeze and preserve those. 2 full rows of carrots almost. I've got celery, I have some spinach I believe, and I have some okra down there at the end. So these are just kind of various things. And we'll also do some succession planting. So once we start to harvest some of the spinach and those get taller, we'll actually pull out some of the plants probably and then plant in between every other one a new one after about a month. So those will start growing up. So we'll have the those crops kind of into the fall. These lazy guys. And this is my youngest daughter's little garden plot. She planted all this out. She's got some lettuce and some kale and some carrots and other things. We're going to plant some sweet corn in here. And then she has some tomatoes that we started in the greenhouse. So those are doing pretty well. They're a purple tomato that she wanted. So she's got those ready to go in here. So this is her patch. This whole section right here will probably be more tomatoes. Also, same with this whole section right here will be rows of tomatoes. Lots and lots of tomatoes this year for sale, for canning, for preserving, for making ketchup, making salsas, making spaghetti sauces, all that stuff. We use a lot of tomatoes, so we're going to grow a lot of them, and we started a lot of them. So this is my middle daughter, Kayla, her rabbit garden. This will be fenced off here and have a little gate and stuff like that in it, where her rabbits will be able to get out in free range and eat as they want to off of this stuff. She's got some tomatoes in here, a lot of leafy greens and different things she knows that they like. And so as that grows up, the bunnies can get out and they'll just snack on stuff, and then they can go back in their little hutches there. Now this is the new space. So all the way from here, all the way down to the greenhouse, it's about 100 feet. And I don't know how wide it is, maybe 30 feet wide or so. And so this is a huge garden patch. All this is going to be sweet corn. So I'm going to put as many sweet corn as I can in here. I'm hoping to get maybe 1,000 in this area if I can. We're going to just pack them in there, and hopefully we'll have a good sweet corn harvest that we can use at a roadside stand later this year, as well as for our own use and preserving and things like that. But this still has to be amended and tilled one more time, and then we'll be ready to plant this pretty huge space. So we've been using all the seedlings from the greenhouse. I've got a lot of tomatoes that did really well, and I think these would be good for a seedling sale. But you know, only half of the seedlings that we had are really big enough to be worth $1 or more a piece. And so we're going to try to plant out as many of these as we can instead of selling them. You can see the Roma tomatoes here, and look at what a difference 1 week makes. These were planted. Those ones had the frost damage. I replanted those a week later, and you look at the difference in those. It's a huge difference in height. I'll show you the other ones we have in the greenhouse as well. All right, so we still have no tables in here. It's on my list, but I haven't made it yet. So things in here are doing pretty well. I got to get them out of here though. It's been too hot. So a lot of these things have been, you can see like this, the tray of tomatoes here, they're wilted a little bit. They're growing, but things are kind of stunted. So things in here have done pretty well. I've got a lot of peppers, dill, cilantro, a lot more tomato plants in here, and marigolds. Got some more zucchinis, various kinds of basil, some more peppers and sage and other herbs and things down here, and a lot of melons. So things did pretty well. My peppers did not. I'm really disappointed in the germination rates I got out of the pepper seeds that I had. Not only do they take a long time to germinate, longer than I've ever had, this whole entire tray of seed, only 2 sprouted. So we kind of decided not to do a full-fledged kind of a seedling sale this year. We were going to do like a little roadside stand, put a sign out, 99-cent seedlings or something like that. Just be able to, you know, help people get the garden started and things, and help us kind of recoup some of the costs of startup, you know, greenhouse stuff and other things. That plan has kind of fallen through. Just too many things going on. We just didn't have enough things prepared and ready to get seedlings started early enough. As many of you had mentioned, I'm taking my foot out of my mouth here from my seedling video. But you know, some of the seedlings are good enough to sell. But a lot of it I wouldn't even be comfortable, you know, trying to charge people for. They're too small. So we may get rid of some of these seedlings just through kind of word of the mouth sales and things like that. But we're not going to really advertise, do a big deal. But what we are going to do is plant a whole lot of these plants. So we're going to make more garden space, make enough room to plant as many of these as we possibly can, so that we can harvest the fruit, and then later on in the year when we have more time to prepare, we can do like farmers markets or do a roadside vegetable stand and really be set up to help recoup some of the costs that way, which I think we'll actually make up better that way anyway. Many of you know, if you followed my channel, how much I hate grass and lawns. I think they're a complete waste. I don't mind having some space for the kids to play and you know, that kind of thing, but all in all, yards are a complete waste of time. I would be so happy just every year tilling up more and more of this yard and making it into, whether it be chicken pens and areas like that, goat birthing areas, or just more garden space. So every year when I can till up a section like this and have less grass to mow and deal with, it's really just a waste of time. It's just a satisfying feeling for me. So always trying to get rid of more yard, and there's just no purpose for it. So hopefully you enjoyed today's quick update on the kitchen garden here. There's going to be a lot of gardening how-to videos coming up. I'm going to do a complete series, or at least a complete video, on Gardening 101. So start to finish, what to look for if you're just starting and just trying to get into gardening. What do you need to know? What do you need to do? And I'm going to try to go through as quickly as I can all the main points and things that I've learned over the years with gardening. So a lot of production stuff coming up. I've got a huge pumpkin patch to put in. We're going to be doing a video on the sweet corn planting, and I'll take you guys along for all of that. We're going to be building a roadside vegetable stand. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff coming up. Hay season's just around the corner. There's piglets about to be born in the barn. This place is just bustling with things to do, and it's exciting, it's awesome, and just a lot to take you guys along with. So I'm excited about the next few months. I hope you guys are too. As always, guys, subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along. If this is your first time stopping by, I'd love to have you tag along. Hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it. That allows you to get notifications whenever we post new content. If you have been subscribed for a long time and you haven't hit the bell, do that. You'll get notifications when we post new content. So good stuff. You know what to do. Thumbs up as always, guys. Comments down below. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.